All right, welcome back to the What Do I Know podcast. This is another solo episode, and I'm gonna be very frank and honest. The first probably 50 episodes at least are gonna be kind of shit, so just get used to it. But I wanted to just basically talk about emotional intelligence, and emotional discipline, because personally, I am not doing too hot in a lot of areas of my life, financially mainly, but also figuring out good work ethic and discipline and all these other things. And I'm coming to the conclusion, like, I have the knowledge to achieve what I want to achieve, at least temporarily. Not temporarily, let me rephrase that. I have the knowledge I need to at least start walking down the path I need to take to get out of the situation where I am, the situation I'm in, and get working on paying the price for my goals. Now, I have the knowledge. Now, I spent, an hour and a half yesterday just trying to figure out why I haven't been taking the action. And this morning, for example, gonna be honest, I stayed up way too late last night to get up for 6 a.m. at least. So instead, I stayed up like 10:30, 11-ish, which isn't that late, but it's late if you're waking up at 6 a.m. So I wake up at 6 a.m., grab my phone, turn off my alarm, lay back in bed, and stay there till like 8 or something like that. Maybe 9. And then I go procrastinate for another hour or two, and then I finally do a brief morning routine. I didn't even work out. I just ate and barely worked on the stuff I need to work on, which are the only two opportunities I have right now that are going to get me out of the situation I'm in. And yet I ask myself, like, why am I not taking the action? Where's my hunger? Why am I deciding to hold myself back? Why am I self-sabotaging myself? And I came to the conclusion of, potentially, a big piece of the puzzle would be emotional maturity. Being able to understand, like, hey, I don't feel like doing this. But having the discipline, having the self-love, and making the choice to actually do the actions, take the actions that I need to take to achieve what I want to achieve. It is January 4th, 2025 at 3:19 p.m. And whenever you are watching this, you have plenty of time to figure out what you want to do with your life. But you gotta start acting towards it. Now, my whole question, I don't know anything about this, is how do you develop emotional intelligence, emotional maturity, and how do you figure out, how do you choose to overcome your emotions? Because, like, I don't know much. I don't know a lot of things. And this is one of them. And I think if I can figure it out, and I will figure out eventually, and hopefully I remember to record it so whoever's watching this can, whoever's watched the journey I'm on can actually join and learn with me. But I'm going to figure it out. And I think it comes down to having a goal that you really want to achieve. Because, like, right now, where I'm at is I just want to get out of debt. I just want to be able to go meet people. I want to be able to go and experience things that are outside of this building, outside of the area I'm in. Even though I'm in downtown Chicago, I can't afford to go do shit. Nothing. I can't afford anything as of now because of the choices I've made in the past. And I have to make new choices to actually live the life I want. So what I'm going to intend to do, what I'm going to do, is whenever I am not feeling up to it, I'd be like, ugh, I don't want to go take a cold shower for 5 minutes when it's 19 degrees outside. That's not going to be fun. And then I'm going to replace that thought with, just like the episode I did yesterday, like, well, yeah, you may not feel like doing it, but it's going to be good for you. You want to do it because it's the actions the man, in my example, it's the actions the man you're becoming would take. So have this frame. I talked about frames a while back. That the story you tell yourself is the story you'll live. And to change your story, you have to first understand what your story is. Presently, my story is you'll never be good enough, but you're working to be better. But because you don't feel like being better, you aren't going to become better. And because you keep becoming a victim of your... because you keep because you're a victim or choosing to be a victim of your emotions, you're then in turn choosing to be a victim of your situation which you created. Obviously, if you're under 16, basically, you're at the mercy of your family and your environment. And after you're 16 as well, you're to a point, though as you get older, you gradually lose this effect. But your family will have influence over you until you basically live on your own. So, but the point being is that the choices you make and the perspectives and stories you tell yourself, that's the life you'll live. So yes, it may be 3:22 p.m. on January the 4th, 2025, and I may not have a clear path ahead of me. But I do know I have a morning routine that will build up the character and discipline and self-love that it will take to get out of the situation. I know I have 2 good opportunities before me, and I have 2 ways of getting more opportunities before me. Now it's up to me to make the choices to actually take action upon those opportunities. So, to the earlier question, how do you build emotional maturity? Well, you can't run for your emotions, which I've been doing for fucking hours. Let me grab my phone. Let me see. Today alone, I have a timer. I have, what's it called? My speaker's still on. But on my phone, I have a screen time thing. So today alone, I've spent 9 hours on my phone. And let's see, what has been, I don't even know what that chat is. Okay. No, I stand correct. I spent 5 hours. Today I've spent 3 hours on Snapchat alone. 3 hours on Snapchat alone. And what has that mostly been? It's mostly been shit like this. Just stupid shit. This is what I've been spending 5 hours on. Watching dumb shit like this. Granted, it's funny, but still, stupid. 3 hours. Everyone scrolls, especially if you're in my generation. But what are we running from? What are we choosing to hide? What are we choosing to suppress? What are we not facing? Emotional maturity, at least in my viewpoint, is figuring out why you're scrolling. And then figuring out what are you going to do about it? Because scrolling is not getting you to where you want to go. It's just holding you in place. And I heard this really cool analogy a while back. It was someone was talking to their therapist, and the person on the couch said, "Doc, I don't want to have these ups and downs in life. I just want everything to be still. I just want everything to be stationary." And the therapist then said, "Well, view life like this. Life is just like a heart monitor, just like your heart. It goes up and down every single second, multiple times. But once it stops, you're dead." The meaning is that life is going to have its ups and downs. But once everything stays stationary, your adventure will stop. And right now, in the modern age we live in, with social media and AI, video games, virtual reality, and Neuralink, which I think will all come into one, and then God knows, maybe we'll have a new race of human beings who are connected to the neural networks within my lifetime. Who knows? But the point being is that the longer you run away from something, the more you bottle up emotions, the worse it's going to get. That's just a fact. It's like, I think I'm not. Actually, let's look this up. The whole point of the show is to understand that you don't know any. No one knows a lot, and if you do know a lot about a subject, stay in the call. But if you do know a lot, from my understanding, true masters of a field realize how little they know about the field. They may be truly, truly understanding. But if you're on the forefront of like string theory, anything in physics or science, STEM, even finances, I mean, like, look at Warren Buffett, for example. He sways the markets in ways unknown, and yet he still plays the game. So I'm looking up, did Einstein say exponential growth, eighth wonder? Let's see. Yeah, Albert Einstein is often credited saying compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. So why do I bring that point up? Well, from my personal experience and from my understanding, whenever you bottle emotions up, they exponentially grow. And whenever, at least for me in my situation, I can't speak for anyone else's or their experiences, but for me at least, whenever I am scrolling, I'm scrolling to avoid something. Whether it's doing hard work I don't want to do, whether it's mentally straining work that I don't want to do, whether it's choices I don't want to do, or people I don't want to talk to, or a job I don't want to work, whatever it may be, conversation I don't want to have, whatever it may be. Just by the act of scrolling or avoiding or numbing those emotions, then bottle them up, and then exponentially grow their potency. What do I mean by potency? Well, what I mean by that is their effect on your vibration in your mental state. So, for example, let's say today, I did not want to write down and sit for 9 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, and just learn about life insurance, because that's one of the avenues I could go down, which I'm not for sure about, honestly. I just need to make money as fast as possible. Not the point, though. The point is I didn't want to do that, so what did I do instead? Spend, 3 hours scrolling, basically, on Snapchat, and just talking to completely random people. Now, granted, me talking to completely random people was just to try and find people who wanted to get on the podcast show. I'll just, why not? We're running with that. It's going to be a show eventually. It's going to be a big thing, hopefully. It's going to be something that I enjoy for the rest of my life, that's for sure. Whether it's just me talking to myself or me talking to complete strangers. Everyone's a stranger. No one's a friend until you meet them. Or everyone's a stranger until you meet them. But the point being is that, from my personal experience, scrolling, numbing, and eating is a way to distract yourself from the stuff you're trying to avoid, a way for you to cope with the stuff you don't want to do. And that never is a good coping mechanism, because it doesn't actually solve what you want. It doesn't give you the outcomes you want. It just makes your life still. Not still in the sense of being present, not at all. Still in the sense of avoiding the presence, avoiding positive action, avoiding certain positivity. And don't get me wrong, not by a long shot. The internet's a great place to be. Internet has a great web of information, experiences, and perspectives. It's the whole point of this show, is to explore the internet to find people's perspectives. But one of the functions of the internet as well, though, is to keep your attention. And where your attention goes, your energy will flow. And where your energy flows, that thing will grow positively or negatively. Now, if you are scrolling on social media, like I have been today, then where is my energy going? Your energy going? Are you learning anything about yourself, the world? Are you getting closer to any of your goals, your dreams, your desires, your vision at all? Or are you running from the work that you gotta do? Alex Hormozy has this amazing quote that I really like, and it's on a post-it note in my bathroom mirror. And it says, Alex Hormozy said, "The magic you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding." And how do people avoid things? At least how do I avoid things? I scroll on social media. I watch mindless YouTube channels. I listen to music for way too long, unproductively. I choose to not use my brain to sort out the emotional chaos in this world. Because life is, like, no matter when you see this, the fact that you can see this, the fact that you have access to the internet, guarantees that you have the best perspective in all of human history up to this point, in general. I mean, for example, like, the American dollar, from my recollection, has lost over 90% of its value since 1971. Rockefeller was a multi-millionaire before 71. And yet, from my recollection, he didn't have air conditioning. There wasn't any supercars to have, any iPhones to have, no FaceTime, no text messages, no fast food, no super sweet things. And yet, he had no HVAC either, or hot running water. Well, actually, they may have had hot running water. I don't know. The point being is that the day and age we live in is the best time period to live in. And literally today, I was watching the Joe Rogan podcast with Duncan Trussell, which is hilarious. I love Duncan. He has a weird perspective. That guy would be awesome to talk to. But they agree that this is the greatest time to be alive. And now my immediate reaction was like, "Oh, well, you guys are old. You guys have more experience. You guys are more established. You guys aren't struggling like me." And then I thought to myself that similar thought. I was like, well, this is the greatest time to be alive. If it wasn't for modern medicine, my mother would have died when she was like 10. She had a massive tumor or something like that. Maybe she was older, but she had like a football-sized tumor when she was little. And I almost killed her being born. And if it wasn't for modern medicine, I would have died from a dairy allergy I grew into. Whenever I was 14, my body developed eosinophilic esophagitis. Basically, whenever I have any type of dairy, my whole entire esophagus swells up. We didn't know that. And I had to go to the hospital twice because I had food stuck in my throat and I couldn't swallow for hours on end. I wouldn't be alive if modern medicine wasn't here. I would have just starved and thirsted to death, honestly. And there's many other things. We have transportation. You can talk to anyone from anywhere in the world. You can share ideas, concepts, fantasies, stories, instantaneously, through the air. You can track where your loved ones are from anywhere across the world at any moment you desire. Heck, we can see people with Wi-Fi. It's crazy the world we live in. We have robots that can go inside your body and fix whatever is going on. We can understand where your ancestors came from by just having a little bit of blood. We can take someone's heart out of a person and give it to another person and they still live for years on end. That is a new thing. We live in the greatest time to be alive, but our perspective has to shift towards that. And at least for me, I have to become way more emotionally mature. Be able to think logically and emotionally. I know the actions I must take. I know I have the strength to take it. I just must make the choices. The hard choices. The seemingly hard choices to be uncomfortable. For example, this morning, I've taken a cold shower whenever it's, let's see. Today it was a little colder than it is right now, but I think today, what was it? How do I check? Yeah, so whenever I took my shower, it was probably, I think it was, yeah, like 13 or 19 degrees outside. Okay. Yeah. So right about 10. So today, oh, you guys can't see that. Whatever. So it basically says 14, 6 a.m. it's 12, 10 a.m. it goes up to 19. So I've taken cold showers in 10-degree weather. Well, with it being 10 degrees outside. The cold doesn't bother me, honestly. The hard part about going into that shower is the fear of discomfort. That's really what bothers me. Why I procrastinated that sucker so much is because I knew how uncomfortable it is, even though it's not really that bad. Because after a bit, it's just tingling. But it's the expectation of discomfort, the expectation of fear, the expectations of things, which then can lead to a perspective that may not actually be grounded in much truth. Like, for example, the expectation I have with doing this work is like, oh, I'm just going to be so bored, I'm not going to be entertained, it's going to just drain me. That's the expectation I have, so then the emotions then reflect the desire to not want to do that and run away from that, which then my coping mechanism was to go into Snapchat and scroll and talk to complete strangers and sometimes mask it as, oh, I'm working for the podcast, which is bullshit. It's bull. Or horse. You know, horse blank. Fill in the blank. You guys know. I'm trying to keep it kid friendly. Don't know how long that's going to last, but in the beginning at least. But that's the thought process. For me, at least. I don't know if this resonates with anyone, but for me, at least, I have goals, I have visions, I have dreams. In my present knowledge and experiences, have figured out the actions I need to take to go do them. But my expectations of discomfort then outweigh my current discipline to actually take those actions. So then I cope with not taking those actions by distracting myself with social media. So then how do I fix that? Well, first I have to become aware, which I wouldn't be aware and I wouldn't have figured this out if I didn't ask the questions. So now how do I overcome that? Well, how do I actually change my expectations? And that, I don't know. That's the whole point of this podcast, is because I don't know anything. I just want to learn as much as possible. I want to learn more than know. My guess is, from my present knowledge and previous experiences, is that first you must become aware, then you must choose, and then you must consistently be. That's my guess. I don't know. So now I know. Now you know. Now what will you choose? What will I choose? And what will we consistently be? I have no clue. That is a question for another day. Hope this helps. Till next time, y'all. Peace.